All right, a happy TGIF to all the Skope listeners out there. We have got an incredible musician on the phone tonight by the name of Graham Zach. Hey, Graham, what's happening, man?
How's it going?
Good, good. Where are we talking from tonight, and what's up for the weekend?
I am in Chicago, Illinois right now. That's where I'm based out of, and have a couple rehearsals and a gig with different various bands over the weekend. So.
Very nice. Now, excuse me, I just had a shot of Bushmills, so that's going down. Now I'm going to follow it with a little Bud Light, but how'd you get started playing music, and how supportive has your family been?
I started when I was about 7 or 8 years old. My brother was 4 years older than me, and he played guitar. And he was like, "Hey, man, you got to play something to compliment me." So I started playing bass, electric bass, and then right shortly thereafter in school, in orchestras, and started the classical thing and whatnot. And my family all along, they've been super supportive. My parents are like the hippies that never really grew out of it. I mean, they go see almost, I'm a professional musician playing out every year, tons of concerts, and they go see more concerts than I almost play a year. So it was pretty cool, and they're very supportive, and it's been great. So I just kind of continued from there.
That's awesome. Now, what made you go the solo route as opposed to putting together a band?
Well, I have been in a lot of bands. I've been, playing professionally out since I was 14 or 15, and been touring, and still am touring with a lot of different bands. And I just felt like I found my own voice, and I started writing my own music, and the rock vein, and a lot of the things, the influences that I grew up with, naturally come out. But I felt like it was really original. It was kind of a calling, and in a sense, I know it's under my name in this album that I just released, but I feel though it's more of a community and more of a band, because the guys who I brought in were my great friends and musicians that I really look up to, that are just top-notch killer, musicians that brought the music up to the next level. And I kind of put my ego in the back seat and was like, "Hey guys, I want your musical genius to shine through, so take this music and to the next level." And it feels that way for me, because it exceeded my expectations with them putting their, genius on it. So
That's cool. That's really cool. Now, Graham, how long were you writing and recording your debut album, Lucid?
I've been writing on and off just because of the busy schedule and playing and touring and practicing and writing with other bands, but on and off for the last 2 to 3 years. And then I started recording it, actually, the drums we started tracking in September of '08. So it's been about a year and a half to get everything together, and, release it was like about a year and a half in the making.
That's awesome. And by the way, we spent pretty much a lot of our day-to-day listening to the album, and it's really good, man. You really got some good stuff on there. Now,
I appreciate it.
Oh, no problem. Lucid, it means easily understood. That's the definition. How does that define this album, and and also how does it define where you are in music and in life? Why the word lucid?
Well, I was looking for a name, and I kind of didn't like the whole cliche having a title track off your album as the album name, and I didn't want to just have no title name and just have it under my name as like the first album, like a Led Zeppelin or something. But I did come across it, and I really liked it because I think that it fits the music very well, and a lot of the messages within the songs, if you see, in the lyrics and just in the titles of the songs, there's a lot of universal messages, and I'm bringing back the sort of, or trying to, this 60s and 70s movement of the music back then really spoke and said something, and there was substance to it and messages where I think has been lost a lot in more of the modern music with, it's a lot of materialistic things, which, it's about sex and money, which is great. I have no problem with that, but a lot of it, I feel like, is getting lost, and, especially in today's society and our world, it's, something, that word lucid, it just reminds me of like a lucid dream, or something where you're awake and you understand it, but it's kind of, it's transparent as well, and it's just something that, these messages in the music and how the music is, and the kind of the psychedelic nature and everything behind it, I just really feel like it kind of was a potent thing that just kind of spoke to me, and I think represents that in the music and the messages. So.
Very cool. Now, you're living in Chicago. What are some cool venues that you like to go to, and what does the city offer you musically?
Well, it's great. great. I think the city, is definitely up there in the top, 3 to 4 of the more progressive, diverse musical scenes. I would definitely say L.A. and New York are, there, and then Chicago's kind of in between, and it's a good, middle ground. It has a lot of every different type of style and genre. Some of the venues that I play at, I've played at almost all of them in Chicago, and the ones that, tailor to different sorts of genres, which I play in a lot of different genres too, but, Martyrs is where my CD release show is on October 15th, and then, that's a great venue. Love the sound there, love playing there. And then there's also, some other venues, some bigger ones, the Riviera, and Aragon Ballroom, and the Metro is over by Wrigley, which has some good shows. And it's a pretty decent place. The House of Blues is really cool too. And then some of the jazz clubs I've played at that I really like is like Andy's Jazz Club, and the Green Mill obviously is a staple from back in the 30s. And the Jazz Showcase, which kind of moved locations, but yeah, there's a ton of great venues and a ton of good bands and a lot of really good music. Anything from the Chicago blues, which is huge, to a lot of hip hop, like Lupe Fiasco came out of Chicago, and Kanye West and all those guys, and to rock, like Wilco came out, and Smashing Pumpkins, and some more notable bands like that. So
that's cool.
Cool.
Now, where did you do most of the recording for Lucid, and how did you decide who you were going to work with?
I brought on Chris Myers from Humphreys McGee, the drummer, on the album, and he's been a really good friend of mine for basically, since, we went to high school together. We were in a high school band called the Scalawags, and kind of progressed from there, and he went off, and we both kind of went our own ways, and then he joined Humphreys, and all the Humphreys stuff was recorded at Ivy Lab Studios in Chicago with Manny Sanchez, who was the main engineer on the album and mixed it. And that's, kind of what I was, I was searching around and asking a bunch of my friends and other people, and, Chris really wanted to record his drums there because he was comfortable there, and he got great drum tones. I mean, on the album, I think the drums sound amazing, and we kind of started there, and he gets there's a lot of good gear, great studio, really cool guy, and he's worked on a lot of really good stuff, and he's working on some major label stuff as well, and beyond. So it was a pretty easy decision, and when it was that inside connection, and I knew a lot of studios in Chicago that I've worked in as well, so I kind of felt them out and priced everything out and kind of went with it. So
that's cool.
It's cool. Yeah.
Well, we're gonna take our first break. This is really, really cool. Skope TV. We're gonna be right back with Graham Zach live and direct. That rhyme. We're gonna be back with Graham Zach. I like that. Live and direct from Chicago. Skope TV on a Friday night.